All right, here we go. We're live in Laguna Beach, California at the Ben Reinberg I Own It Studios. And today we just keep rolling along with great guests. Today's guest is a speaker, an author, he's an entrepreneur, he's the co founder of Sports One Marketing, and he formerly served as the CEO of Lee Steinberg Sports and Entertainment Agency. And what's interesting is we will be spending time with Lee Steinberg this Friday on location with him. So that's going to be really exciting. So what a treat we get both of them in the same week. I'm so grateful for that. David Meltzer, welcome to the show. It's so nice to see you. And I really appreciate you being here.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. Any opportunity I get to hopefully collaborate with someone as intelligent as you and to help other people and impact them with the dummy tax I've paid, as you'll find out and shared with my friend Lee Steinberg. Our best wisdom stems from the pain, setbacks, and failures, and allow us to really hopefully empower others so that they don't do the same stupid things that I've done. I don't know if it's my side or yours, but hello, everyone. Email me, David at davidmeltzer.com. David at davidmeltzer.com. I don't know if I'm still live. I'm still here. Ben's not. But anyway, while I'm waiting for Ben, I am on a mission to empower over 1 billion people to be happy. And part of that is giving away everything I have. So I do free trainings on Friday. And I'd be happy to send any one of my books if you'd like. I'll pay for the book, shipping, get that to you. Of course, if it's free, it's me or we, David at dmeltzer.com. I think I'm still live. Please let me know in the chat. Anyway, can't even take Q&A here. I'm still live. Thanks, Blaine. What else? Give you a little bit of background on what I do in that mission. How am I going to empower over 1 billion people to be happy, to make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun? In order to do so, I provide, speaking, I do coaching, free trainings, my books. I have a podcast called The Playbook. More than happy. Like I said, if it's free, it's we. And just email me if you want to be a part of it. I've been doing this for years and years and years. I used to run Lee Steinberg, who you have here next Friday. He's one of the greatest mentors I had. The greatest lesson that Lee taught me was to be kind to my future self by continually doing good deeds. He made sure as a qualification. Oh, here's Ben.
All right. So, okay, we're going to get back into it. David, I wanted to start off by driving into how you learned to combine spirituality and business. So many executives and entrepreneurs and just people from all over find themselves unhappily pursuing what I call a hamster wheel, a zero sum game. What were the insights that helped you realize that there was a different, better, and happier way to be a business leader?
Well, I think you nailed it at the first foundational principle of understanding scarcity. And there's two variations of scarcity. The first is a world that I was born into, a world of not enough. I had a dad who left when I was 5. I had a single mom raising 6 kids, 5 boys and a girl, out of second grade teacher salary, packing our dinner in paper bags and driving around at night while we studied or talked to each other, filling up turnstiles at convenience stores with greeting cards. And in my mind at 5, all I wanted to do was buy my mom a house and a car. All I wanted to do was be rich. But I lived in a world of not enough. We had food stamps at time. We couldn't go to summer camp. All my friends all had more than I had. And I lived in the why me world of not enough. Things happened to me as a victim. It was less than zero sum. I call it the less than game. And then when I graduated law school, I became a millionaire 9 months out of law school, and I entered that zero sum game from the less than game. I worked in a world of just enough, and it's a world that a lot of people, they get so busy working, they forget why. They forget why they have activity they get paid for, and they are literally working to buy things they don't need, to impress people they don't like. And in that zero sum game, as you suggest, everything's a transaction. Even giving was a transaction. I took what my mom taught me: the more you give, the more you receive. Well, I can't think of a more scarce zero sum philosophy than the more I give, the more I receive. See, I believe in a value add world. And in order to reconcile this spirituality, faith, I had to shift the paradigm from the more I give to receive, the quid pro quo that I was taught in law school, the transactional world of negotiation, of not enough into just enough, now had to shift to I don't need more. I don't need more wealth. I don't need more happiness. I don't need more health. I don't need more worthiness.
I
I
get the
live in a world.
impression. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I just uh, through a process of my wife threatening to leave me and then eventually losing over $100 million, I learned that I am right. I am more than enough. I live in a world of more than enough. Things don't happen to me or for me, they happen through me. So I receive so I can give. I live in a world of appreciation, acknowledgement, and asking. See, once you shift that paradigm, you realize the best thing you can do is ask for help. You actually are adding value or appreciating and acknowledging that person that you ask help from and becoming an investment of them. So the paradigm shift of faith that there's more than enough, an infinite world with a power, a source, an omniscient, all powerful, all knowing source that loves you more than your mom, was the transition of the three worlds from the not enough world to the zero sum world to the more than enough world.
David, what does success mean to you? Because I get the impression that you had a different idea of success earlier in your career, like you just mentioned. I'm wondering, like, if you have any theories on why people chase the wrong ideas of success.
Yeah. Well, I even told my mom during the time I was chasing success through financial gain. I lived in a world where money bought me love and happiness. I had all these confirmations from making $1 million out of law school, buying my mom a house and a car, to my first exit of 3.4 billion with West Publishing, merging with Thomson Reuters, to running Samsung's division. The worst time of my life was working for Lee, because it was a complete hypocritical world where Lee, as he'll should tell you, right, had his personal issues, challenges, a disease called alcoholism. And meanwhile, I was a multimillionaire, not only being able to buy everything I wanted, but I had access to things that billionaires didn't have access to. And literally, money in my life was everything. My identity, it was my happiness. I utilized my bank account to determine how my day was going. It was incredible. And I learned a new definition of self. Instead of others' esteem, I created my self esteem by realizing that I needed to enjoy the consistent, every day, persistent, without quit pursuit of my potential. That is success. See, Chris Gardner is a good friend of mine. He wrote a book called Pursuit of Happiness. Will Smith starred in the movie. And I told them both, I said, you guys got it wrong. They're like, Dave, this is a New York Times best-selling book that became a movie that made hundreds of millions of dollars. We don't have it wrong. I said, you do, because I pursued happiness. I pursued money. I pursued and chased. And I didn't realize that wasn't happiness. That pursuit is the happiness. And when you learn to enjoy the pursuit, enjoy it consistently and persistently, then you're allowing things to happen. You are utilizing your free will to clear the interference. And I spell interference with a FEAR, not FER. The interference. So the way that I tell people is this: you look at the past, it's unlimited, right? It's unlimited. You can go
Yes.
back 100 million years by closing your eyes. 100 million years, close your eyes, you're there. But the only limitation of the past is the meaning that we give the defined moments or inflection points. The only limitations of utilizing that meaning today or in the present is 24 hours, right? We're all limited by 24 hours today. It's the only limitation that we have. We share it in a collective consciousness. But the limitation of the future is our fear, ourselves. Fear is the only limitation of the future. And so, if we can utilize fear and identify it by utilizing it to get out of our own way, to clear the interference, we then can experience a broader pursuit of potential, a greater potential, a higher self, a higher truth of happiness, joy, and success. I think we're having more technical. Yep. Uh, Sorry, Ben. What are the best books you've read as a kid? Well, this one back here is my favorite book as a kid, talking about getting out of your own way and fear. Right there. This book, there's gold. The monster at the end of this book, starring lovable furry old Grover. And in the book, it's the story of life, right? Everyone tells you what you can't do, and they tell you, don't take that job, don't go to that school. And it says right on the first page, there's a monster at the end of the book. Don't turn the page. Don't do it.
Thank you for your
There
patience.
you go.
We're having a little techno. By the way, I learned that line from you instead of saying apologize and pardon me. So you just better keep rubbing off on me, kid, because I love you.
Thank you.
Pardon us for the interruption. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So, just dropping off in that interference is, that relativity of the future being unlimited is the only limitation in the future. In the present, it's time, but in the future, it's self. And fear is the limitation. And so, if we can utilize and identify fear, because fear can be utilized as a motivation, it can get us up and get us started, get us back up when we get our butt kicked and restarted. But it's not going to get you there. What gets you there is identifying fear and then utilizing it to get out of your own way, to get out of your own way, to stop and breathe and remind, remember, and recollect to your source. What is it that I want today in a trajectory of what I think I want in the future? Who can I help with that? And who can help me? How best can I pragmatically get that done utilizing productivity, accessibility, and gratitude? And then, most importantly, prioritize. See, prioritization is the antidote to feeling overwhelmed. It's also the antidote to procrastination. People that prioritize have alignment with what's important to them. They're the most efficient, effective, and statistically successful people on earth. People who know how to prioritize. You cannot prioritize unless you know what you want, who you can help, who can help you, and how best to get that done. And if you do prioritize correctly, instead of searching or chasing, you understand you're applying. You're applying your why. You're not searching for your why. You're applying your wealth. You're applying your worthiness. You're applying your health. You're not in search of it. And this is a paradigm shift that was reconciled and recognized in my life when initially my wife told me that I wasn't taking stock in who I was or what I wanted to become, and that she was scared I was going to die. Just like Lee, he'll tell you that he would die if he didn't change his behavior. And luckily, Lee has changed his behavior. I have changed mine, and we're both thriving again.
Oh, that's fantastic. I don't know if you're a fan of Wayne Dyer, but
Love.
okay, so he has a line that you might be familiar with that I wanted to read to you is that hitting rock bottom can be the best thing that ever happened to someone. And I'm wondering, do you believe that? How do you feel about that line?
Well, you're looking at someone who listens to Wayne Dyer every day. So whether it's Erroneous Zones, Power of Intention, Lao Tzu, his interpretation of the 82 laws of the universe, this man has studied. I'm friends and have mentored Sage, his daughter, with their book. So I absolutely resonate with that. And I'll tell you why, because the meaning of my bankruptcy, of hitting rock bottom for me, has changed. And like I told you, the only limitation of my past is the meaning that I give the inflection points or defining moments. So when I hit rock bottom,
Oh, here we go.
so when I hit rock bottom, it was the worst day of my life. You're looking at someone that not only lost over $100 million, but had to go tell his mom, the person who he only wanted to be rich for, to buy a house and a car for. I had to tell her that not only had I lost everything, but I lost her house and she would have to move because I didn't even take the house out of my name and put it in hers. So now I went from that rock bottom, the worst day of my life, the challenging day of my life, to 14 years later, to giving it the meaning of one of the best, if not the best day of my life. I would say that having my own children and getting married, especially considering who I married, probably tipped the scale a little bit over that day. But if that did not happen, as my wife had stated years ago, I probably wouldn't be here. And if I would be here, I'd be very lonely and miserable, but for me giving a blessing of being able to start over by having my back against the wall, hitting rock bottom, to a point where all I could say to myself is, if I can look up, I can get up. And I've taken that to build a huge brand, more money than ever, help more people than ever. And I absolutely am happier than I've ever been.
Let's roll back because I don't know if you've talked about. I know you talked about your bankruptcy, but so we can educate people. I mean, I'm in commercial real estate. I'm a principal. I own commercial real estate around the United States, me and my company, and it's a good way to teach people what went wrong, what'd you learn from it, and what happened that caused this, that, and what'd you learn from it?
Yeah. So, number one lesson I learned is there's a difference in ignorance. There's only two types of people in the world. There's ignorant, humble people that don't know what they don't know and they admit it. Then there's ignorant, arrogant people that know they don't know what they don't know, but pretend like they do. And I was the latter. I was someone who, I was a millionaire 9 months out of law school. Everything I touched turned to gold. I believed my own bullshit and I believed other people's bullshit that they were feeding me. And I took yes for an answer all the time. And because of that, I never asked for help. I never had radical humility in my life. I even told my mom at one time, I don't believe in God, that I did all this myself. And she said, son, you believe in God. I said, no, mom, I don't. She said, well, you're serving a God. And I said, no, mom, I'm not. And she said, oh, you're serving a God. It's the wrong God. And I'm praying that when you learn what God you're serving, that the punishment or the practice or the pain is not going to be too great. And oh boy, was she right. I was serving the wrong God. And so for me, the lesson that I learned is radical humility, that three words changed my life. Ask for help. People ask me all the time, how'd you lose over $100 million? I didn't ask for help. I was ignorant and arrogant. It's okay to be ignorant. Everyone is. There's trillions of variables in the world, but you can't be ignorant and arrogant. You have to be ignorant and humble to know that you don't know. Find people that sit in a situation. The pragmatic, practical truth was that I owned a ton of real estate, a golf course, a ski mountain. I owned 33 homes just in San Diego alone. And I thought that I had the ability to liquidate through, my own equity in a faster, more efficient manner with my private bank. And to my surprise, as I let my ego get in my way in a lawsuit and wanting to be right, a need of the ego is a need to be right, which was something that was key to my personality, a need to be offended, a need to be right, a need to be angry. And I went ahead and, went to my bank to go pick up a quick $5 million to help me with that lawsuit. And little did I know my bank was going under. And although I had equity, they weren't going to give me financing on what I owned. And then when you are looking and things are going down, it became very difficult to get liquid. And I had made really great moves. I own great properties. I think I'm one of the few people in bankruptcy that maybe the creditors made more money by putting me into bankruptcy than losing money. They were happy. They were forcing me into it because the properties I had were, so valuable, but I couldn't make the payments. And it was very difficult. And when you own that much and you're not asking for help, things get miserable fast. And so the biggest lesson I learned was radical humility and ask for help. It's still the same lesson that I tell everyone when they say, what would you tell your 18-year-old self? Well, let me just tell you this: 18, 28, 38, 48. When I turn 58, I'll be still telling myself, hey, dummy, you should have asked for help. It's a lot easier.
And that's a great point. I want to tell our audience is we talk about resource rich. The reason why you want to be resource rich is to basically adhere to what David just said. When you can ask for help and you can bring in resources, well, guess what? It will ascend you on the learning curve to rapid success. It's an important point. And I always preach having great resources, asking for help. I always found, David, in all the offices I had back in the day, we had conference rooms, and the conference room was always be at the entrance of the office. That way, if you had a bad meeting, they could leave, and that was the strategy. But the beautiful thing was, whenever you had a challenge or you didn't know someone, we always felt that if you didn't know something, lay it on the conference room table. Someone will pick it up and help you. And that's a lesson I've learned a long time ago. I think it's relevant, especially for a younger generation, is that if you don't know something, it's okay. People respect the fact is, I don't understand it. I don't know it. Can you help me? When you ask for help, people naturally, human beings will gravitate to you and help you. And so thank you for sharing that. I think that's a great lesson. And also, for you folks out there that want to learn commercial real estate and are going to get active with our brand new university that we're going to be launching soon, I want to let you know, do not over leverage your properties. People ask me, so, well, I don't have to put as much equity in. With inflation, I'm making money as I borrow more money. Don't do it. And the reason why, so everyone's out there and learns this lesson, is because when you have an issue or a challenge and you got to exit, whether you're going to lose some equity or not, you can pay off your loan. And that way you don't have to pay recapture either, which will cost you a lot of money in taxes. And so that's a real key point. And so as we progress, David, so in the last few years, I have really bought into executive coaching, mentors, self improvement, and developing a whole new worldview for myself. I'm curious, who are some of your teachers and mentors, and what were some of the lessons that they taught you that you could share with people?
Yeah, well, I've been blessed as being part of the Transformational Leadership Council to be mentored by some of the world thought leaders. So whether it was Deepak Chopra or Sadhguru on the spiritual side, or Dr. and Master Shah, to business leaders like Bob Proctor, Jack Canfield, Mark Victor Hansen, all types of great mentors in my life. But I'll tell you, one of the key mentors that I've had, Wayne Dyer, by the way, a great mentor as well. But one of the key mentors in my life is an area that a lot of people don't think about. I have a sleep coach, and I've had a sleep coach for 16 years. And my sleep coach is also the sleep coach for the Major League Baseball league. She coached the Astros to the only team to win 4 road games in a World Series, even though they might have been cheating. I'm sure the sleep helped them pick up the signals as well. But more importantly, most people don't value sleep. And I spend an extraordinary amount of time on a third of my life that nobody's paying attention to. One of the biggest misnomers or frustrations I have is that the majority of the people on earth, no matter how rich or poor, intelligent or stupid they are, the majority of the people on earth go to bed at night and they wake up more tired. That is literally like if we all went out to eat for 2 hours, at the Montage together, and we walked out and we all looked at each other and said, man, I'm hungry, we would think something's wrong. But I don't understand why people don't utilize an unwinding routine, that they don't put themselves in a position to plateau and grow every day. They don't utilize sleep to not only recover, which is obvious, but more importantly, to access, to get the ego out of the way, the conscious interference that we create, and access the higher source while they're recovering, so that each day is an advancement with a new baseline to your potential or higher self. Regardless of your religious or dogmatic beliefs, this is the way that we expand and grow and accelerate in contingency or in continuity with the universe itself, which is always expanding, growing, accelerating. So this sleep mentor or coach that I have has been an extraordinary mentor of mine, business wise, whether it's real estate or sales. I've had, from Dennis Waitley to Mike Bosworth to Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins in real estate, everyone from Ken Clothier to Dean Graziosi to, all these great people. I probably have more coaches, have spent millions of dollars, Ben, since my bankruptcy, millions of dollars on executive coaching, business awareness and development, spirituality. It's like sharpening a knife. I'd rather spend millions to make billions by sharpening my knife than just continually getting so busy working I forget to make money.
That's well said. By the way, if you ever need commercial real estate advice, you just ask me. It's free. Okay,
I'm coming,
that's
baby. Yeah,
that's my.
I'm going
Come
to,
on over.
trust me.
I believe me, you can, and my door is open to you. Let's talk about sleep. One of my mentors says sleep is the number one item for your health, and I strongly believe that. And so I've been working. I'm a big fan. I mean, obviously, I like to have a nice mattress. I know you do too. I'm a big not to plug, but Spring. That was my love. It still is. I have two of them, and I'm a huge fan of sleep. How much sleep do you recommend people get? What do you do on a nightly basis?
Yeah, so look, everyone's different, right? We all are different because we have genetic and energetic inheritances. For me, I suggest getting tested to understand how quickly you get to REM, how quickly you have light, mid, or heavy sleep, and to understand yourself. For me, though, once you determine how much sleep is optimal for you, and for me, it's determinative upon my exercise, nutrition, and output. It's a minimum of 5 hours, and 7 hours is optimal for me. And so, what I do, because I want to wake up at 4 a.m., I backtrack from 4 a.m. and say, I have an unwinding routine at 9 p.m. I always say my tomorrow starts today at
Right.
9 p.m.
Mhm.
So I have been coached on unwinding to put myself in the best position to recover and access by 9 p.m. the majority Pacific time. So if I'm in New York, it's midnight. If I'm in London, I cheat a little bit. It might be 2 in the morning. So I try my best the majority of the days to stay on this exact time zone. But more importantly, I put myself into this position so that the nights that I need 7, I'm passing out at 9:05, waking up at 4. The nights I need 5, I'm barely making it to 11, but I get the 5 in. And so I think utilizing a strategy, a coach, a sideline coach to sleep, getting tested, it's so amazing. Like we get tested for, nutrition and allergies and all these things as we gain wealth to take care of ourselves. How many people really know what their genetic and energetic inheritance is for sleep? I know mine, and I'm constantly trying to get better and improve upon it so that I can plateau and grow at a better pace.
That's great. One thing I did, I might as well share it with everyone. They already know is I started doing colon hydrotherapy. I don't know if you've done it.
I
It is
haven't, but I've heard of it.
I'm telling you, Dave, it's a game changer. I've done like 4 of them already. I'm like addicted to this thing because you come out and you're just so energized, and they get rid of all the toxins out of your body. And so I think that also helps sleep as well.
You
And
don't look at the output after that, do you? I know some guys that do. I'm like, why would you look at that?
I think it's just because we're all nuts.
Yeah.
Um, when did you realize that, you have so much knowledge and now you're coaching? Like when did you decide, hey, I'm going to become a business coach?
It decided for me. I was speaking at an event in San Diego, and a young 30-something-year-old pharmaceutical rep came up to me afterwards and said, would you be my business coach? And I said, I don't really know what that is at that time. And I said, but I don't do that. And to be honest, you probably could afford me. And he lived in my neighborhood here in Southern California and right by San Juan Capistrano. He said, please, Mr. Meltzer, anything. And so I started talking to Bob Proctor because I knew that he was a coach, and I didn't know what kind. I thought he, life coach, business. Yeah. So I started asking him, and then Blaine Bartlett and some other people, because I subscribed to asking for help. And they started to explain to me how it worked. And I said, well, I'm not that kind of guy. I don't have, a day or a workshop or, and they said to me, make it your own. What do you do? And I said, I'm really more a hot seat guy, right? I'd like to be a sideline coach to people. I want to be involved, but for 5 or 10 minutes a day, maybe do a check-in for 20 minutes every other week. And they said, then do that. Tell the kids you'll do that. I said, yeah, but I don't want to just do one person. So what I did is I told the kid, look, get 3 friends your age, meet me at the picnic table at 7 a.m. on Sunday every other week, and I'll coach you guys, bring questions, be prepared, and you pay $100 to charity each month. You pick the charity at the time. From that, by the way, all 4 of those young entrepreneurs are multimillionaires today. All 4.
Wow.
One was a manager at the cheesecake, assistant manager at the Cheesecake Factory. One was a pharmaceutical rep. One was working for ProFlowers in the digital marketing space, and the other one was working for Ernst & Young. All 4 multimillionaires today. All 4 also are doing and paying much more than $100 to charity. But those 4 individuals were responsible for me having one of the biggest and hopefully most profitable and passionate top coaching businesses in the world.
Oh, that's great. What a great story. Well, let's go there. You said you stated your life mission to empower 1 billion people to be happy.
Over.
Shit.
Don't limit me.
Oh, sorry. I won't. Excuse me. Could you share with me, like, how is that going to happen? Like how are you going about this, and what's driving you to keep this impact you're planning on achieving?
Yeah, for me, happiness became a big deal, and I saw kids committing suicide, 20 somethings, 30 somethings, 40, 50. It became the fastest growing cause of death in America because people weren't happy. And so I was so happy, and I had been through very challenging, interesting times. I could meet people where they were at because someone could tell me they grew up with nothing, and I could say, so did I. Someone could tell me, hey, I lost everything. I could say, so did I. Someone could say my parents were divorced. I could say, so was I. Someone could say they were sexually abused at 9. I could say, so was I. I had all these experiences, and yet I was super happy, right? I abused drugs and alcohol. So did I. I couldn't meet them where they're at. There was no difference. And so I said to myself, okay, I have learned all these lessons. Life is about lessons. They're going to keep on coming. I can make a significant impact on the world to find 1,000 people like Ben. If I can find 1,000 people like Ben and teach them different ways to look at things, different values and daily practices that they make their own. Just give them a structure like Think and Grow Rich. Not tell people, but empower people with, okay, I've been in your situation, right? Here's what I did. Now let's make it your own so you can teach somebody else to make it their own to teach someone else. So 1,000 Bens turn into empowering another 1,000 and turn another 1,000 with the third layer or generation of empowerment. 1,000 times 1,000 is a million times 1,000 is a billion. A billion people is a collective consciousness, about 1/8 of the world. I could literally change the world. Now, here's the interesting thing about telling people that is it is completely aligned with my belief in life. And the belief in life is that if you explain to people what you do today, it shouldn't scare them. Right? It may seem
Right.
very active. You may seem very productive, very accessible. Like how can you return all your own emails? Or you just may seem very gracious. But nothing should scare or be out of the belief system of people from what you're doing today. But when you tell them where you're going to be tomorrow, it should scare not only them, they should be laughing at you, scoffing at you, and making fun of you. And you should be terrified yourself. So when people meet me and they're like, so, what's your mission? What's your objective? What's your goal? I'm going to change the world. If you're not scared by that or scared by me if you first met me, then there's something wrong with you. And if I'm not scared, there's something wrong with me. That's the secret sauce in life. I tell this great story, Ben, about Jeff Bezos. And 25 years ago, I was richer than Jeff Bezos. I had more relationships on Sand Hill Road than he had. And I had literally, more famous than more people would know who I was 25 years ago. If I would have run into him in his garage selling books and he told me at that time, and I'm an optimist like you, if he would have said, Dave, I'm going to be the richest man on earth someday, I'll be worth over $1 trillion and I'm going to change the world in the marketplace, I would have laughed at him, scoffed at him, and made fun of him. I would have, literally been like, this dude's crazy. And he would have been scared himself saying it, but that's the only way you're going to get there, is to say that. And so for me, I think, say, do, believe, and feel that I'm going to change the world, empower over 1 billion people to make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't know if it scares me, those conversations. I have such an open mind. I'm like, okay, how are we doing it? I'm
Yeah, I
like,
love that.
what are we
You
doing?
can be
How are
my
we getting
friend.
there? Well, yeah, I mean, that's how you have to look at life. I feel one of the things I just absolutely love what you teach is the word no. Okay, I have people that work for me. I've been raising equity my whole life. I've heard no and can't and all the contractions that I don't give a crap about. And I think it's so interesting because when you're talking to people and you're calling, and let's say you got to make 50 calls in a day because you're looking for properties acquire, say in our business, or raising equity for a fund like we're doing right now. The word no is prevalent. In my business, it's been the story of my career, especially when you're looking for properties. It's no, 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 yes. And it's a numbers game. And how do you teach people? It's like, you're going to get no a lot and you're going to have to overcome that. And I love when you say, you know what, go get 80 no's. And when you get 80 no's, you're making enough calls, and the odds are, because you're touching so many people, you're on your way to getting some yeses. Explain the concept of no, because I think it's such a powerful lesson that you teach, and I love it.
For me, there's two types of no's. There's the opening no, and then there's the closing no. So when you're opening, like trying to look for properties, every no you get, you're closer to a yes. Right. So I have a 25 no rule. So I'm the only weirdo in the world that I'm like, my wife's like, what are you so excited about? I'm like, I just got my 23rd no. I'm getting really close. You're right. Because I just know eventually. I mean, look at Jack Canfield, right? The greatest book. The
Right.
more no's you get, the bigger the outcome. So when you get 120 publishers that tell you no, and you end up selling a 500 million books, Chicken Soup for the Soul, right? If Jack Canfield would have got no, just one of them, he wouldn't have ended up with a 500 million books sold. Just like Warren Moon, right? Warren Moon spent 6 years playing football in Canada, and he always says to me, if the NFL didn't tell me no initially and didn't keep telling me no after Grey Cup after Grey Cup after Grey Cup after record after record after record, I wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame today. Thank God your philosophy was right, man. It takes at least 25 no's to get a yes. I'm just that much closer. So that's the opening no rule. Now, even more interesting, what I call the closing no rule. When you and I have a shared vision and we create a schedule to follow up or to meet or to move forward or to get payment, I have a 3 no rule. And it's a little bit different, but it's extremely valuable. My 3 no is universal in nature, meaning that if you and I schedule a meeting and I get a flat tire, that's 1 no. If I call you back for the second time and you're busy, that's 2 no's. If on the third time you tell me, hey, I'm not ready, blah, 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 that's 3 no's. On every third no, my response is always the same. Hey, Ben, obviously this isn't the right time. When it is, please let me know because I'd love to move forward. Now, what happens with this 3 no rule on the closing side is that I do one of two things. I either accelerate the sales cycle or the close because I now have elevated an awareness to the priority of getting this done, or sometimes I think even more valuable than accelerating what would have happened anyway, the close, I think the other side is even more valuable, meaning I never hear back from you, which means I am not utilizing my obsessive compulsive behavior to keep hitting my head against a brick wall, thinking and buying into the bullshit of, oh, call me next week. Oh, sorry, my flat tire, my kids got COVID, blah, 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 blah. I wasted so much time, emotion, value, and money not utilizing the 3 no rule. I always had the 25 no rule because I really like good looking girls and I wasn't good looking. So I was used to getting no. And I ended up out kicking my coverage, by the way. I got a big yes, the greatest decision of my life, 25th anniversary to the most gorgeous, beautiful, intelligent lifesaver you could ever marry. But more importantly, the 3 no rule has saved me so much time, emotion, value, and money by people not calling me back ever.
Well, let's get into that because everyone always asks me and says you have to ask David this, okay? Because everyone wants to know it, especially when you're in sales or anything in business, or even trying to ask a girl out. How do you get the call back? What's the secret? Like you
I
always
got
talk about is if I could increase 8 to 10%, how big of a you shake more hands, you make more money, and it's a similar concept. So explain to everyone out there in the ether, like how do you get the call back when you make a call?
First of all, it's about your ability to articulate a quantitative value to exceed what you're asking for. And then also know that there's time, emotion, and value are the three components of why someone doesn't call you back. So I practice articulating quantitative value in each circumstance, stimulating interest, transitioning interest, sharing a vision, and even managing and developing a vision, which is 80% of the work. I think people fool themselves when they get a yes. They think they're 80% of the way there. I think I'm 20% of the way there. And I spend 80% of my time managing and developing the yes so that it thrives into multiple yeses down the road, either from that person or other people that they know. And so for me, statistical success comes from being more productive. And that means spending twice as many hours engaged in the activity, more efficient with that productivity. So I call it the power of 64. When I got out of law school and got a sales job, I was younger by 20 years than any other person. I had no relationship, no true experience. So I said to myself, if these guys' comp plan was 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, based on that, I was going to be productive 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, make it twice as efficient, made it 32 hours with the statistical success of practice, make it 64 hours, 7 days a week. I was getting 56 days of productivity compared to everyone else's 5 8-hour day of activity. And so I was doing 11 times productivity. So when I made over $1 million right out of law school, 9 months, and I blew out my comp plan, I was giggling subtly, just saying to people, "Oh, I feel bad because I didn't hit my comp plan." They're like, "What are you talking about? You blew it out. They got to change the comp plan because of you." I said, "Well, I worked 11 years." They're like, "It's been 9 months." Well, in the realm of productivity, because of twice as many hours, twice as efficient, twice as statistically successful, I was able to create productivity equivalent to those that had been doing the 8-hour day, 5 days a week to 11 years it would take them to catch up if they had the same skills, knowledge, and desire. Now, a lot of them had a lot more skills and knowledge. I just had a lot more desire. I know that we are moving on. Technical difficulty on Ben's side. Yeah, thank you, Noah. Um, I got a couple more minutes, and I got to leave myself. Once again, if anybody wants the daily practices, my book, whatever it may be, if it's free, it's we. Email me, david@dmeltzer.com. First name David at first initial D, last name Meltzer.com. We have to wrap up, Ben. All right. Anyway, I got a couple of minutes here. I apologize, Ben. Thank you. Thank you so much. Can you get back on? These guys are all putting their notes in there. Uh, we can also, I'm, what's your favorite practice? Five daily practices. Let me finish with this. So, and I'm happy to send this to everyone, by the way. This is my secret sauce. The 5 daily practices that I have. Number one, know your what. Start every day asking, what do I want today within the context that I can do in 24 hours in a trajectory to what I think I want in the future, minimalizing the limitation that I give myself. And so if I know what I want experientially, personally, giving and receiving wise, then I can take that possibility and by knowing who I can help and who can help me, make it a probability. And if I can take that probability and know how to get it done with productivity, accessibility, and gratitude, my probability becomes my perspective. Now, to make my perspective my reality, all I need to do is prioritize the what, the who, and
Uh,
the how by knowing what's important to me.
yeah, thank you for your patience here. David, can you hear
Nope.
me?
I can, man. I
Okay.
wish we were in charge
All
of
right.
the internet, but we're not.
Yeah, I know. It's unbelievable. Um, let's talk about energy, because you're passionate about it, I am as well, and I want to talk about your book Connected Goodness, and where you speak about energy and how is it able to scale and thrive when it's released in a certain way, and share your view of energy. And I know you've written about it and how it can be harnessed in meaningful ways.
Well, energy is in everything, and we know that by its frequency. Energy has different frequencies and vibrations that are connected to those frequencies. The thing about the human being or our own anatomy is that we're having an energetic or a spiritual experience in these human bodies. Body is a limitation. Body limits us, as you know, from doing a lot of things. It limits me from dunking a basketball. I know that. If you've seen my body, you would know it as well. But more importantly, it's a energetic entity. And the interesting thing about energy or frequency or vibration is that the human body can only be aware of that which vibrates equal to or less than it. And so if, the earth vibrates the slowest, minerals, then plants, animals, then humans, then sound, and then light, and then thought, when we understand that our frequencies, our neighborhood, our vibration determines upon our awareness of the neighborhood that we're in, the field, some people would say, like Wayne Dyer, this neighborhood that we're in, where those that equal to or less than have a vibration that we do, that utilizing what we think, say, do, believe, and feel can actually allow us to have a greater potential, a higher frequency. So I utilize an awareness to frequency, vibration, or energy, knowing there's energy and frequency and vibration in everything, that I'm consistently trying to elevate my awareness. And it all stemmed from, believe it or not, my need to know when to buy or sell. Because when I was approached to learn this in India, I poo-pooed it. I laughed at it, scoffed at it, made fun of it, said, I have no time to do it. Why would I do it? I've made everything myself. I come from nothing and I own a Ferrari. Why do I need to meditate and learn about theta energy and vibration and frequency? And the doctor who was explaining it to me said, oh, that's too bad, because I could raise your awareness when to buy or sell, which, by the way, is a critical capability of real estate. Buying low and selling high is a great way to make money. And then learning how to finance asset-based lending is another great way to take advantage of the tax benefit of an asset that you buy low. But these are lessons that I learned through frequency vibration. And what happens through that awareness is you start realizing the people and ideas that are feeding you and the people and ideas that are bleeding you. And it becomes quite easy to have a successful journey, an accelerated journey, because you keep surrounding yourself with the right people and the right ideas, the ones that are feeding you, that you are feeding and getting an exponential result from. So for me, vibration, frequency, and energy are the key foundation to awareness. And of course, utilizing in a pragmatic sense your awareness to be more happy by allowing your awareness to allow you to make more money, help more people, and have more fun.
How, you're big into manifestation. How do you how do you track what you want in life? If you could share with everyone.
Yeah, I have a very pragmatic way. And it's in the book Connected to Goodness that I start with the understanding of how manifestation, or what it is. Manifestation is getting what you want or better. That's all manifestation is. It's like, okay, this is what I want. And oh my gosh, I got something better. Now, you may not realize that it's better, like a bankruptcy may not seem like it's better than what I wanted. But if I would have made the $1 billion I thought I was going to make from all the real estate that I owned in the lawsuit I was in, I probably would be dead today. So it ended up being better. So understanding manifestation, number one, is getting what I think I want or better, and then realizing how to do it. Here's how you do it. Number one, know that you exist in nothingness and no thing. The way that we go from nothingness to a possibility is to know what we want. The minute you know what you want or think what you want, a possibility occurs. Then the next mathematical advantage is, if I know who I can help and who can help me with what I want, my possibility becomes a probability. And then by asking for help and utilizing lenses of being productive, accessible, and gracious that we were just talking about, the how, when we know our how, our probability becomes our perspective. It has meaning. And then when we take our how and combine it with the what, the who, and the how, and we can prioritize, the minute we prioritize, that perception becomes a reality. It becomes our now. And to enhance the now, to enhance the reality, we then can apply the why by clearing even more interference or raising our awareness to the betterness of what we wanted. So the what, the who, the how, the now, and the why is how we manifest or get what we want or better by knowing what we want, who we can help, who can help us, how best to get it done, prioritize it, and applying our why by getting out of our own way, identifying fear, utilizing it either to get us up or to get us out of our own way.
When you meet someone new, is your first thought, so you could teach everyone this exercise, is how can I serve them and how can they serve me? And it really goes into your philosophy. And I agree with this. I've been living my whole life like this. And I think it's why I've created success is you say be interested and not interesting. I teach that to my kids. I teach it to my staff. And what's behind that is take time to care about someone and understand their story and their pains and their suffering and how you could add value to them. And if you take that approach, I always found, I call it the real estate gods. They always come back and smile on me with great deals and equity and great financing. And I believe there's like a karma to it. It's that if you serve and you can help people, it comes back in spades. And so just reflect on that concept that you preach a lot about, be interested and not interesting, and how it's impacted you and how you go when you're out. Say you do a lot of speaking or you're networking, you're out in the public, people recognize you, they want to come up. Like, walk me through what that conversation looks like for you.
Well, I think there's a first step that everybody overlooks, and it's the most substantial step, and that's a qualifier. And the qualifier that I utilize, whether I'm looking to be more interested or others are looking to me to be more interested, meaning they approach me, it's I qualify people by having an open mind. 80% of people waste their time, emotion, value, and money on a closed mind. They're trying to get over, around, through, oversell, manipulate, lie to, or deny something that is immovable, which is a closed mind. Takes over 1,000 times the energy to utilize or be interested with a closed mind. So what I do is, one, determine if I have an open mind and they have an open mind at that time. Once I have established that, because everybody has an open mind, by the way, it's just a matter of time. Some people have it like you and I most of the time, and some people have it very little of the time. But catching someone that has an open mind very little time at the time it's opened is equal to or greater value than finding us when we have our open minds. So number one, really put a force of attention into finding open minds. Then, to be more interested than interesting, utilize an open-ended question template. And here's how it works. I send this out to everyone, Ben, and it's changed my life. It's really simple. Hey, what are you doing today? Once I know you have an open mind because you smiled at me or you laughed at my joke or some other indication, now I just say, hey, Ben, what are you doing today in commercial real estate? Blah, 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 blah. Hey, what do you like about it? Now I'm getting emotional attachment. What don't you like about it? Ooh, would it help you if I did this? Would it help you? And look, it's not specific to commercial real estate. You may tell me, what I don't like about it is I don't have someone from, most of my deals happen from 2 to 4 p.m. and I don't have somebody to do this for me. And I can't go to my kid's soccer game. That actually is a very valuable thing I could do for you. And I would help you if, maybe I swung by and, looked over the office for 2 hours, make sure nobody's stealing from you. Yeah. Oh, could you do that? Well, then I have now the second side of the open-ended question. Hey, Ben, do you know anyone that can help me? I'm looking for a syndicated property with 7 floors in Laguna Beach. Do you know anyone that could help me, place this money I have? Oh, now we're reciprocal. We're both more interested. We're learning about how we can be of service or value to each other, not bragging, going, oh, my name's Ben. I own more real estate in Laguna Beach than anyone all over the country, blah, 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 blah. Me, 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 me. Well, you don't know anything about how you can help. But meanwhile, you may have, a candy bar and I'm I need a candy bar. I got a sugar problem. And meanwhile, I'm a huge investor. And because you gave me a Snickers, all of a sudden, because you were more interested than interesting, you're getting the business deal from me, not somebody else that's bragging about how much money they've made. This
You,
is the
you,
secret.
you know, it's so apropos what you just said because and I think when we were younger, what I learned is like you never show anyone who you are, And now with this social media world, it's like we're all out there, okay. And I was just very reserved. I've always been reserved, and like I don't like talking about the deals I've done and the success. And now like you were sharing all this stuff, which I think is fascinating. And so I agree with you. I think the approach is when you take time to care about people and learn who they are, your relationships get so much deeper. And guess what? You get referrals to help your business. You get new ideas. You open yourself up. And I agree with you. You said something that's so brilliant that I want everyone to hear is that open your mind. You never know. Open your filter as large as you can be. You don't know. You meet a guy like David Meltzer. You see him on the street. He gives you one piece of advice. It could change your mind. It could change your mind. It could change your life. It could change your trajectory in business and your relationships too. Just by one little instant, you just don't know. And so I always feel that there's a reason why people meet. I think there's a reason why things happen in your life. And if you believe that and you go that deep, you can kind of have a sense of appreciation for people. And I found as I got older, I started loving myself, but I started loving people. I realized that if I take the approach that I love people and I respect them and I show that I'm interested, it just comes back tenfold. So I love the lesson you teach and you talk about because I think it's really important in life. And I think it's really part of your pursuit of achieving the happiness that you talk about.
Well, it takes people like you, Ben. And unfortunately, I got to get going to my next meeting
No
slash
worries.
interview.
No
And
worries. Give
we
me,
do this
give me,
again.
give me 1 minute. We'll wrap up. We always ask our guests 3 questions. Okay.
Sweet.
And we'll
Perfect.
definitely bring you back. And by the way, I know you're local. We'd love to have you in the studio. Okay.
We'll
So
make that arrangement.
well, we talked about this so you could keep this brief. We always ask the first question, kind of answer it early in the discussion we had today. If you're in the Ionit studios with me and you're laying on the couch and I ask you to say, David Meltzer, I think you're 54 years old. You're a young looking 54 now. You had to talk to your 16-year-old self. Go back and tell me, what are you telling your 16-year-old self today with all the knowledge and experiences you've had?
Ask for help. Find someone that sits in the situation you want to be in. Ask them for directions. Ask for help.
Okay. It's our last day on earth, God forbid. You and I are sitting together, we're having a meal, wherever you want. What are we eating? What's the food of choice for your last
It's
meal?
so bad, man. Hamburger,
Right.
French fries, and a Coke, man. It
Well,
sounds
it's your
simple.
last day. You might as well go crazy.
Yeah,
You
that's what I
just
love.
boost the cholesterol. What are we washing that down with?
I'm going to go Coca-Cola because I don't drink it anymore.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it obviously was a great addiction when I was young, but I look at that still today and it's a point of discipline.
When it's cold in the bottle, it's priceless.
Yeah.
Last question for you, and then we'll wrap it up for you. So in the ION studios, you can see behind me, we have electric guitars. There's a drum set. There's a grand piano to my left. You probably can't see it. If you could have any musician or band, deceased or living, come in the studio, you're sitting with me to play us a song. Who is it?
Oh, dude, you're gonna make me cry. So most people don't know this. My grandfather was a jazz musician for Benny Goodman. He played the
Oh wow.
piano. I got him to play in the Super Bowl in San Diego in 1988. They had 88 pianos on the field. He was 88 years old at the time. So I'm getting choked up, but I'd like to have my grandfather.
Okay. What a great answer. It's one of the best answers I've heard to date with all the guests we've had on.
Thank
Is
you.
the best way to follow you, davidmeltzer.com? Is that what you
Yeah,
recommend
it's
people
D
engage with you?
Meltzer. Yeah, it's dmeltzer.com, first initial, last name. I take personal emails. So, I take pride in the fact that I have an efficient system to answer everyone personally. So, david@dmeltzer.com. If it's free, it's we. So, email me, david@dmeltzer.com.
That's great. Well, thank you so much, David. What a treat, a wealth of knowledge. We'll definitely have to back on the show. If you want to follow the I Own It podcast, drop kick that right hand lower button and click subscribe. If you want to follow me, go to benreinberg.com for all your needs regarding business and commercial real estate. And if you want to learn more about my company, go to alliancecgc.com. You can also look into our brand new Alliance Medical Property Fund we just launched. It's best fund in the United States because the human body is never going out of style. So feel free to continue to follow us, David Meltzer, as well as other esteemed guests that have come on the I Own It show. David, thank you so much for your time. I know you're busy, and God bless you, and keep rocking, keep inspiring, and keep doing what you do, because you are such a treat and a blessing for all of us, and just a wealth of knowledge. So keep teaching. I appreciate it.
Thank you, my friend. I'll see you soon.
All right. Take care, bud.
Bye bye.